Okay, so in this video, I'm gonna tell you about my friend Booker. The thing about Booker is that he was a pretty cool dude. Then again, if you weren't cool, then I definitely wasn't friends with you. I really don't want to waste my time on those scab-eating, fart-sniffing, snot-nosed kids. Now, don't get confused and think I'm some kind of snob that relied on other people to tell me who is cool. I would have my own gauge as to which kids are cool and which ones are not. For instance, if you came to school and you stunk up the whole place because you didn't bother to clean yourself properly, then you were not cool. Or if you were a little bastard treating other kids like garbage, then you were definitely not cool. And if you were one of those kids that didn't do any work and you'd rather be sitting there shooting spitballs at the ceiling and then you expected everyone else in the group to finish your work and do it all for you, then you were definitely not cool. So in case you don't know, there's an acronym for these kinds of kids. We call that being a DALF. D-A-L-F. Dirty ass lazy fuck. Now, as you may know, me and my friend Logan climbed up a tree and he got all scared and he got all overcome with adrenaline, so it ended up where he ended up pissing all over the tree branches and we were still up in the tree. Now, some may think that Logan was being a DELF, but the thing is, he didn't really know he was afraid of heights when he accepted the tree climbing challenge, so it wasn't really his fault, and Logan never did that again, so he's still cool in my books. Now, I first found Booker at school because we just happened to be sitting next to each other in class. So sitting next to Booker is where I learned a little trick on how to save some time. Booker would do something that I thought was elementary school genius. Booker would always have his lunch divided up into small pocket-sized bags. So what he would do is he would always have his two pockets filled up with parts of his lunch. So whenever the teacher wasn't looking, he would just plop a little piece of fried banana or coconut chips in his mouth and then he would snack away. So I had to ask Booker about this.
Yo, dude, why do you keep snacking in class? Why don't you just wait for lunch?
Man, I don't want to waste my lunchtime in here eating when I could be out there playing.
Oh, dude, that's a great idea.
So the next day, I tried the same thing. Before class got started, I filled my pockets with cheese and grapes. There we were, just a couple of kids trying to beat the system just to gain a few more minutes of playground time. So the thing is, Booker and I knew that we couldn't just have any kind of food in our pockets because some food was way too noisy. Like you couldn't just be munching down on some noisy ass carrots and chips or else we would be totally busted. Now why would we take the risk just to gain a few more minutes of playground time? Because playground time was where we were basically free to do whatever we wanted. We would play games like wall ball or charging bull or gaga ball. For those who don't know, wall ball is where you have a nice bouncy ball, could be a tennis ball or a rubber ball, and then you just bounce it off the hard ground and the hard wall and you gotta get it to the next person, and if you drop the ball, the other person gets a point. Kinda like racquetball, but with your hands. And charging bull is where you would take turns being the bull. This is where one person would be standing the ground and the other person would be a bull that runs full speed at them. So the person that's standing their ground has to either deflect the bull or has to completely stop them. But if you're standing your ground and you get knocked down, then you lose that round. And gaga ball is where you would have a short little wooden fence in an octagon, and then you have to try and hit the other kids in the leg with a ball. So it's kind of like dodgeball, but you only can get hit in the legs and you can't pick up the ball. You can only slap it or punch it. So the thing about Booker is that he was kind of a chunky kid and he loved football. Anytime we would play any kind of game that was even remotely similar to football, he was all over it like white on rice. That's probably why he liked playing charging bull so much, because he was basically training to become a linebacker. So with Booker being a chunky kid, he was strong, but he was horrible at cardio. Then came a day close to the end of the school year where we had a field day and the school got everyone some pizza for lunch. But the thing about Booker on that day is that he still filled his pockets with snacks and he was snacking on things all morning. Then when lunch came around, he ate his regular lunch and then he had a few slices of pizza. He was loaded up, topped off, his stomach was full. So after eating, we all went out to play at the playground like usual. So keep in mind, this was after a full morning of activities. We were all playing gaga ball. So in case you don't know, when you play gaga ball, you have to be bent over most of the time because you have to hit the ball with your hand and you have to hit the other kid's kids in the legs, and you can't get the ball over the fence, so you gotta be bent over almost all the time. And then Booker started slowing down, and then he had a bad look in his face, and then oh, he puked everywhere. Oh, he had so much food, he filled the Gaga pit. There was puke everywhere. Luckily, that was one of the last days before summer break, so most of the kids forgot all about it. Now the question is, was Booker being a Delph? Is puking all over the place playing Gaga ball a dirty thing? Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty gross. Was he being lazy? Nah, not even close. What he was doing was realizing his own limitations. He pushed his stomach beyond further than he had ever pushed before. Oh, ugh, gross. So it wasn't really his fault that he puked all over the place. And Booker never did that again, so he's still cool in my books. There's a lesson here. If you're gonna stuff yourself with a double lunch, then give yourself some time to digest your food before getting busy with some physical activities, or you might just end up puking all over the place.